Good morning, you sickos. Welcome to episode number 2 of Mindful Miles. And today, for our theme, I want to talk about the ability to fail in front of other people and show your losses and not give a shit what other people think. Because there are so many people that have opinions about you and your life, and for the most part, none of their opinions matter at all. And yet, we let so many people's opinions dictate what our actions are, which in turn dictates our whole life. And this is an absolute travesty. To some effect, that's the reason why you won't do the thing that you want to do, right? Is because there are people's opinions that you care about more than your own. If you ask me, it's a pretty fucked up way to live. But it's hard, man. I get it. Because, dude, I've been there a million times. And arguably, I'm still there now. I would say that I've gotten a lot better. I'm cruising right now, boy. I would say that I've gotten a lot better about that in the past year and a half, 2 years. But, man, I'm 30 years old. That's a lot of time that's been spent giving a shit what other people think. It's a lot of wasted years when my brain's in a fucking jail cell. You know, it's subjective. It's not like I'm walking on eggshells 24/7, caring what every little person says or thinks about me, because I wouldn't be doing the things that I've been doing if that was the case. It just seems in today's society that it's so easy to be influenced by so many other people, because everybody's got a fucking opinion and we're all addicted to these goddamn phones. Yeah, man, like, say anything on social media or just in a conversation, people take offense to it so easily nowadays. And you don't want to be ostracized. Big word of the day. You don't want to be ostracized from your clique, your group, right? For going against the grain. But the reality is, if you want to be extraordinary, it's in their root word. A root word, trying to be smart. Extraordinary. That means you ain't gonna be fucking ordinary, man. Like, you're not gonna do or be a part of or think what everybody else is fucking thinking and doing. I heard some much smarter people than me say, like, if you want to be a part of the 1%, whatever that is, 1% financially, 1% athletically, 1% in your relationships, right? If you want to be part of the 1%, you got to do what 99% of people are not willing to do. I mean, you want to talk about being ostracized and being different and going against the grain? That's it, my guy. Right there. I mean, it's in the definition. It's true. But we're letting all these people in our ear that have no business taking up any fucking mental bandwidth from us. I mean, some of you guys, and myself for a long time, have You know, people are renting whole houses, living rent free in our heads, and that's what's gonna hold us back, man. That's what's gonna hold us back for sure. Cross, 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 crossing the street. Da, 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 da. Back to my original point. So many of us are scared to fail in public, and the reality is everything's public now, right? Our lives are so connected with social media. Like if you're audacious enough to post shit online, if you're audacious enough to go against the grain, start that business, take an unorthodox route, people are gonna know. People talk, man. It's funny, I'll give you a story. There was this dude that I used to work with. Worked with him at a restaurant when I was a kid. Like I was like 16. And I was mad cool with him. Years down the line, my sister ends up seeing this dude out at a restaurant, bar, and she's with a friend of hers. And this girl was dating this guy at the time, and he starts saying all this shit about me, saying to my sister and my sister's friend, not knowing that they both know me. He starts saying, yeah, no, I used to know him back in high school, and he was cool then, but he was like real in shape back then, and now, man, he's like real out of shape. He looks unwell, and yeah, I heard he just does a ton of drugs. I'm like, what? How insane is that? And my sister goes, because my sister's very defensive, I love her. First of all, you have no idea what you're talking about. Because my brother does this, that, and the other thing. Starts saying like, oh, he's super smart. He like invests in real estate and he does all this shit. Just saying like, dude, you're not shit. And you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, which is awesome. But it's just so funny. Like, I haven't talked to this dude or anybody that he knows straight up in years. Like years. I have no idea like where this dude pulled out of his ass that I am a bum who's not in shape, who's a fucking drug addict. That's what this, like, and I say all that to say you can't escape that shit. Like, there are going to be people who have uninformed decision or make uninformed decisions about you or judgments about you. And that kind of is what it is. Like, you're not going to be able to avoid that. So don't try to avoid it. You just got to accept it. It's so funny doing this with the fucking gimbal. And it's like extended out with like the extension rod or whatever. It's just funny that the looks that you get from people. I had to say good morning to this dude, and he just looked at it and laughed. He said, haha, morning. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Who cares? Like, it's funny. I just think we take shit way too seriously. I'm serious in what I do. You know, I dedicate a shitload of time and effort into my work, my family, my business. But at the same time, we gotta lighten up. Have a sense of humor and know that people have so much of their own shit going on. that after they're making judgments about you, dude, they don't give a fuck. They actually don't give a shit. Like, they may think one thing, but how is that going to affect your life? It's not. In like 99% of cases, has no effect on the outcome of your life or what you're doing day to day, what you're doing big picture. The opinions of other people, it just does not fucking matter because they don't matter. I mean, think about it. There's only a select few amount of people in your life that you would even say you have serious relationships with, and that circle becomes smaller and smaller the higher you move up that ladder of success, of personal development, of taking care of your mental state, taking care of your body and your health, taking care of your family, taking care of your business. I mean, all these things require enormous amount of focus and effort. And the higher you climb and the more that you focus on these things, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, the less time that you're going to have for other people. There's only so much time in the day, right? And you have to be very selective who and where you spend your time. And so that furthers my point of what I'm saying. Why the hell are we so worried about what Cowgirl 5678 fucking cares about on Twitter or whatever? Just don't let that dictate your actions and what you're doing in your life. That's a tough way to live. It's tough to overcome because then your mental state is like permanently flustered and focused on the things that it shouldn't be focused on. And what I just alluded to a second ago is the truth. You only have so much focus. You only have so much attention. So you can only give so much time. You only give so much of that attention away. Right? I mean, it's like, it's precious, man. Don't be wasting that time thinking about what other people think about you or whatever you got going on. They got their own shit to worry about, bro. And they're wondering the same thing. Same thing. Like, man, I wonder what so-and-so thinks about me. Or, I don't know, should I make that? Should I make that move? Should I try to start that business? Or, man, my circle that I'm in right now, my social circle right now, they're really fucking out of shape. And they drink a lot, right? And they're just, which is fine if that's the path you want to lead for your life. But it's hard getting out of that circle, right? Or you may be thinking about that. Just for another example, like, man, I want to start spending my time and energy around more like-minded people that do things that I aspire to do. Like, they're already on the wave, man. And I'm trying to get there. And that can be scary because we're such social people. I get it. I mean, you don't want to, it's scary. We're trying to break free of, let me say this. You don't want to be the black sheep, right? You don't want to be the black sheep in your friend group. And maybe for a short time, like, you're not going to have a lot of like-minded people around you. And maybe that's the time that you need to take in solitude a little bit and just dedicate a certain portion of your time to these other endeavors, right? Rather than giving all of your time, I said all your free time, right, to doing to hanging out with those same people that don't have the same aspirations as you do, don't have the same goals, don't want the same lifestyle as you aspire to have. Don't let them suck away all your fucking energy, man. You only got so much of it in the day, and you only got one life to live. And very easily, you could wake up 10 years from now and you're doing the exact same shit with the exact same people, and it might not be what you envisioned for yourself 10 years ago. And you just let all that time go by, man, because you gave a shit. You like genuinely gave a shit what everyone else thought, that you let it dictate what your life outcome was going to be, what your life experience was going to be. Because at the end of the day, we are who we surround ourselves with, you know. And that, I know I'm kind of going off a little bit on a side quest here, but it's so heavily related. So much of the caring what other people think are people that are close to you. That's what cuts the deepest. People make comments about what you're trying to do. It's typically not, you know, lacrosse king 5842. You know, it's normally not that person that cuts the deepest. It's somebody that you genuinely give a shit about, and they're making comments to you about what you're trying to do. That shit sucks. I've had that happen multiple times, man. Well, especially like, give you a little insight, like my friend group, one of my friend groups at least, known them forever. All we do is fuck with each other, you know, like all you do is razz on each other and give each other shit, which is awesome. It's an East Coast thing, but sometimes you're just like, damn, I wish this wouldn't be sarcastic. Like I wish you would genuinely act like you have my back on this thing, and you kind of learn to live with it. But I mean, I've had multiple times where specifically with like this social media stuff that I haven't really gotten much traction on, and that's because I haven't dedicated the time that I'm dedicating now. I haven't been serious, you know. I spent my efforts elsewhere, and also was giving a shit what people thought about me and letting that dictate my actions, just like we're talking about. But man, I've had comments where it's been like, dude, what the fuck's going on with your Instagram? Not like, oh, that's cool, I see you're trying to like build something different. It's just like, you know, it's joking, right? But it's just like, dude, what, you think you're gonna be like a fucking influencer or something? Some of that lame shit? Like, that's the type of shit that you hear from like people that are your friends, right? They're uncomfortable with that shit. I'm telling you, they're uncomfortable with the fact that you're putting yourself out there. Because it's hard, man. It's hard doing that. And most people don't have, to be fair, they don't have the fucking balls to do it. Or they don't have the drive to do it. Even if they're like, oh, well, I don't care about doing it. That's fine. But even if they did care about doing it, because they knew it could benefit other people, and they knew it could benefit their business or their family, would they be doing it? Probably not. There's a reason why the majority of people don't, you know? And that's what makes people uncomfortable, is you going against the grain, doing things that they're not doing. And people don't like seeing that shit, man. It reminds them of how they are as a person and the things that they're not doing. And that's uncomfortable, you know? That really is uncomfortable. In real time, we're living through the topic of today, because I know I'm in real time auditing myself right now. This morning, where there's been a person or a couple people, you know, walking, ride a bike, waiting at bus stops, walking into work, and I'll just keep coasting. Probably fucking edit it out for this video because I'm just quiet. I'm in the middle of thinking a thought and trying to talk to you guys. And what happens? I walk by these people, I just shut up. I'm like, oh, it's a little uncomfortable, you know? And like subconsciously, I'm like, oh, they think that I'm weird. It's so easy not to be confident and to tread lightly around other people. Don't want to make somebody uncomfortable. Don't want to make your friends feel uncomfortable or self-conscious, or your family, you know? What are they gonna do? Thank you. They're gonna make comments to you. It makes them uncomfortable. Because again, 1% do what 99% of other people will not do. That's why they're the 1%. Because everything in life, for the most part, all things equal, everything in life comes down to your inputs and your outputs, right? It's like, what am I putting into my brain? What am I putting out into the world? And you're fucking high if you think 99% of people, or the 1% of people, are not doing what the 99% of people aren't doing, because they are. It's a reason why. The reason why they're the 1%. And of course, you can make arguments about, well, they had a leg up in the world, and they came from this, they came from that. Most of that's bullshit statistically. The vast majority of millionaires in the world, all self-made. Look it up. Don't trust me. Trust Google. 99% of the stuff that I'm talking about in these videos, they are related to personal development, mindset, business, philosophy. They all piggyback on one another. I know, you're like, Pat, who the fuck you think you are, man? Who do you think you are? Coming in here telling me shit like this every day. But doesn't it make sense? I'll be honest with you guys. I'm so passionate about this stuff because I spent so much time studying it. I mean, the amount of audiobooks, podcasts, books, YouTube videos, you name it, man. Ever since I dropped out of college, or I should say this, what led me to dropping out of college was investing in myself. That's what led me to feeling like I could drop out of college. I was like, dude, this is a fucking waste of time. I know what I want to do with my life, and it ain't this. I did have a good situation. Well, I'd say a good situation. I had a career path that potentially could be laid out in front of me if I wanted to bust my ass and learn everything I could. So I did that. And I said, man, everything I'm learning in these books and in these audio books when I'm working out, and these podcasts when I'm going to class, or not going to class. Fuck, man. this stuff, this is the stuff you need to be learning. I'm learning way more about investing, money, personal development, business, habits, goals, mindsets, like stuff that really fucking moves the needle forward. You're not learning that shit. Going to some gen ed study, going 60 grand in debt for a degree that's not worth it. That's a conversation for another day, because there's plenty of degrees that are worth it for sure. But that's how I got to where I got to, wholeheartedly. That was it. I mean, I was drinking a shitload, smoking a shitload of weed, and yeah, man, I just started reading, started listening, started opening up my mind to new possibilities that went against the fray of society a little bit, you know? And man, what a difference. I appreciate y'all joining me for this episode number 2. I'll see y'all on the next one. Later.